the ABCGC committee meeting, we expressed our interest in consolidating dispatch and training. Those are the support functions where both agencies can realize a real cost savings. There's a lack of interest on the county to do that. We're all for it. We would like to absorb that at some point in time, but sometimes we're talking about the consolidations of fire departments, and I believe that that may be a decision that our elected officials or maybe even the public will have to make on our behalf.
And Mr. Chair, I know for a fact that I'm not sure, has the county fire chief changed, or it's the same fire?
Same fire chief.
But I mean, at one time, my understanding is he was totally gung-ho on getting our dispatchers in the same room. And I don't know what changed there, but I really think we need to continue that discussion, and if they're going to be in different rooms, do all the right things, that they're completely on the same CAD system, and et cetera.
Councilor Gardino, and then Council President Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To follow up a little bit on Councilor Benton's line of or his statement, it is true that 2 years, probably 2.5 years now, there was a tremendous effort to get both or all dispatch to happen in one place, which and this was soon after 9/11, and there was a lot of confusion about who was on what channel and all of those things that were happening, and so it was fresh in people's minds as to what are we going to do. And Councilor Benton is absolutely right that there was a lot of interest on the part of the county. I don't know why that's changed. We fought that fight. We even went out to the facility, and it was just sort of a little bit crazy to think that county had a station 2 blocks away from a fire, but yet we were waiting for a city truck to travel 5 miles to get to the very spot where that county truck was. And those are the kinds of things that just didn't make any sense. So, but also in Councilor O'Malley's thinking, I kept thinking, doesn't this affect the insurance rates for residents in that area? If 29 goes from, I don't know what the number is, let's say 10 for lack of exact numbers, down to 6 from the county, doesn't that affect the insurance rates for the neighboring folks?
Mr. Chairman, Councilor Gardino, there will be no effect on our ISO rating, and it's our understanding that this is why the county wanted their fire station back, to increase their ISO rating for the North Valley. And if I could follow up on something you stated, the purpose of a mutual aid agreement is so that we more closely share resources and better coordinate emergency responses. And that's what we aim to do. It hasn't existed in years. We're going to have a good one.
Council President Harris, and then Councilor O'Malley.
And thank you. And a couple things. One of my pet peeves is acronyms. What's ISO stand for?
Insurance Service Organization. They're the ones that rate the fire protection factors for different communities, and it has an impact on your insurance rates. And
right now, does the county have GPS on their fire trucks and emergency vehicles?
I believe they do, but both our systems are not currently compatible.
And just so people understand what we're talking about, right now, if we have a car accident, let's say we have 2 car accidents in the North Valley, and there's not anybody in any room who can see where all the rescue units are, or also the pumpers, or the engines are, and where one person can say, okay, this one's out of service, that one's at that car accident, and there's a fire up there, so there's no place where all the information is immediately available, and seconds can cost lives, and I think it's really irresponsible of the county, frankly, to not be for this, because I think it could be costing people's lives. I think it's unsafe, and it's really unfortunate.
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
President Harris, in defense of the county, they have new leadership, and so perhaps with the new leadership that they currently have, there may be a change of direction.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Gardino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to go back to my understanding that the ISO rating will affect insurance rates. I'm not sure. I thought your answer said no, it wouldn't. But as I understand it, it will affect insurance rates, which is essentially a tax, if you will, on the residents in that area.
Mr. Chairman, Councilor Garduño, it's my understanding that it will not have that effect. It's based on a number of factors in the community's fire protection system that goes with water supply, emergency response resources, dispatch, and those of those nature. It's a fairly complicated formula for determining what that number is.
Part of the formula is also personnel on staff. And if it reduces, then it does have an effect on the ISO rating. That's my information that I'm looking at.
Mr. Chairman, Councilor Garduño, we can look into that, but I can't validate that right now.
Okay, I'd like to know that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chief, and I have the same concerns as Councilor O'Malley, and I brought this up to you at the ABCGC meeting regarding involving the community. I mean, we're talking about $606,000, and I think the most important factor here is public safety, and the community needs to be involved. When the JPA was done 10 years ago, I was serving on the Bernalillo County Commission, and we involved the community in this process, and the community was told the same thing, that the ISO ratings were going to drop. At that time, the county had a volunteer paid department. They have improved greatly in the last 10 years. But again, I think those residents need to be assured that if they call 911 for a rescue or a fire truck, that the response times are going to be equal or if not better. One of the concerns that I do have is with Station 29, if the county does take that station over, that will be about 20% of the calls for the entire county. Do you have the dispatch system available to handle those additional? I mean, it's going to be 20% more in calls, or at least 20% of the entire department's calls. So I want to be assured that the dispatch, has the staff to make sure that they will be responding to those calls in a very timely manner. And if anyone calls 911, it'll be immediate, and they will be there quickly.
Mr. Chairman, I have talked to John Garcia, the fire chief for Bernalillo County. He has not indicated any of these current concerns to me, and we've seen each other several times over the past several weeks working on the mutual aid agreement. As far as the response numbers for that area, the number of events were 1,130, so it's not a 20% increase. It's probably closer to a 10%.
That was fire, but I think there's also rescue, or is that total?
That's total emergency incidents, fire and EMS, sir.
Again, I think just as Councilor O'Malley stated, the councilors and the commissioners of those districts should have been notified, and hopefully the community will be involved and have their say and be assured that there will be no change in services.
Mr. Chairman, we've committed to you that we can notify those folks. Also, in my defense, I have sent out several emails, white papers on this particular subject to the ABCGC. I felt like I'd been diligent in keeping people informed about what we're doing and what our intentions were.
But it's important that we involve the community. Thank you, Chief.